It's going to be a very blinking quick one. Blinking one out of bloody time today. Right. This is going back since May 2018. Be aware of anybody out there that's trying to be offered any medical services by third-party companies, second-party companies. Good gracious me. Speaking of paperwork, what's happened since the 15th of May 2018? Right. I was deliberately delivered. It's meant to be a general service of a hoist, a medical hoist, and a sling. Well, that didn't happen that day. You wouldn't even believe half the things that took place that day. I have original paperwork of what did happen, and obviously what my sister had to do that day. Well, even 22nd of 5th 2018, and then a male called John D. And the 14th Tuesday of May 2018, bloody hell, you couldn't even believe what happened that day. Calling out of hours, a lady called Candy, Southampton area, reference number 4478482. My goodness me, that was unbelievable what happened. In this area, they call it contract by commissioning groups, CCGs, on behalf of NHS England funded. Right, this is meant to be a general service, but a call handler deliberately failed in duty of care. Guy called Alex. He emailed today, 10th of the 1st 2019. It's meant to be a 6-month police service of a medical hoist that I rely on full time. Well, obviously he is negligent in his job role, and the area manager in my area is a guy called Gavin. Now, there's 3 emails being sent, well, co-copied into, to confirm the offer this time round that they won't be doing the same they did last year. So we're going on to the evidence of they've been done this 2017, 2018, but what took place of this document or copy I've got was absolutely by a guy called Kyle, C-A-R-L, I won't mention his surname, of, as I said, Tuesday, 15th of May 2018. I know everything else since. There's been a lot of things that have been happening. They only delivered a major damaged hoist. Brakes damaged, couldn't even use, and their documentation on this yellow sheet, I had a copy, claiming that my private life friends wouldn't use. Of course they're not going to use a dangerous hoist. No official, like, not official, but like care companies, employees would be able to use that. And what would have happened if I hadn't got my sister at the time and on a messenger app recording what happened that day, and she was able to try and get hold of out of hours on an emergency basis to get emergency delivery replacement, I would have been in an emergency care home at the time. I might still be in the system, in that system. This was witnessed by my sister, and it was 2 men in my home. And that evening, 9:30 p.m, my friends didn't notice, right, how damaged the hoist was, because it was dark. And they are also tired, and they hoisted me to bed. It wasn't till the morning we saw, and again the video stream went to my sister, and I sought clarification advice by her help that day. And unbelievable. I've got the evidence, that paperwork. So let's go to the July's paperwork. You wouldn't believe half the things you have to do to seek clarification on these factors. Right. The last proper date when this is an emergency repair by the same male, CR and Carl, and dated target date was the 13th 7th 2018. Right, so replacement of the hoist delivery, that's what it's about, but they didn't even do the sling. I use this well, my carers use this equipment full time, all transfers. And so basically I was just going through that period of time leading up to meant to be what's known, and still got no response, no remedy, don't know what's going on. but I've got suspicion behind the scenes, is subject in conjunction with Adult Health Social Care, National Statutory Care Act 2014. You see, when you got to keep all these certificates and paperwork, because if you suddenly, like, and God forbid, you end up in a mental situation or care home or whatever, you need to have something like that, which I've got. The criteria and nature of vulnerability and high medical use of aids, medical needs, personal high care needs are very personal, especially in one's private life and private home. It's reference to setting your requirements out in written form, which my mate's done already, and I forgot I had this, so thank goodness. It relates to all offered goods and services, whether it's public funded, private, company funded, men and women. So whatever subject it may be, this is what he was made concern. So I don't consent to talk over the phone, conversation, only offer email to respond to offers and then full disclosure terms and conditions of said offer. So today's email was sent for me 3 o'clock back to a particular company to set those terms and conditions and remind them, included the previous email, what happened last year, so it doesn't happen again this year. So one is not disadvantaged, and that included the statutory comments and clarification, the limited now time that I can sit in my wheelchair and assist anyone to offer service in my private dwelling is between such time. So that was quoted. And nature of limited information just to aid them, to aid me, to offer the goods and services I need. Let's see whether or not that was sent without prejudice and with regards. And so let's see if one gets a standard response, or yet again they use this as an excuse to cause severe psychological harm and harm stress. Yet again, if they try and do this, because they are interlinked with all national, like yesterday, well, I know about certain things more now. This is not just about an occupational therapy assessment. This is about, do I know how that process works now? And I know what's required. I know what's meant to be available. But the process is going to be very difficult. And they're just sending these individuals in again, not just for service or hoist. It's to actually try and get me targeted to, oh, you need to move out your home. This has been going on since 2010, by the way. But it's more obvious nationally for those lots of different people in different situations, similar to how the housing, social housing, deliberate targeting of people and pushing them out their own home or secure tenure in statutory law. Now, they're going on the disguise of these contracts employees. It's not just maintaining the equipment in your own private home, it's trying to, like, oh, you don't need this, you don't need that, to cut down offer services, equipment. I found this on social media, someone else had that difficulty. It took me ages to get the assessment and push for the loan of the medical electric wheelchair, okay? And when I had key questions during part of last year, reference these, they're meant to be choices and outcomes of your care assessment. Yeah, there was even a question about my limited mobility in my right side now. I had an accident a couple of days ago, and all my right side is damaged, very badly. And I can no longer have any, well, at the moment I think it's more like tendon damage and muscle damage. But the door slammed into my wheelchair, left side, and my leg. My foot was trying to open the door because the path outside this particular building was uneven, and my wheel, the small front wheel, the wheelchair, got caught, and that door slammed on me. So my leg twisted unnaturally, and it's twisted my bone and my knee outwards. So I got a lot of swelling. And the bruising are just now coming up, and in my right hand and my shoulder, my back, a whiplash injury. So obviously I've not called anybody yet, because the ice packs, first, it was saying on certain websites, first 72 hours, 40 hours I think it were, to do the elevation, bed rest, ice packs and it's not healed then, and you still got the same problem, you call the doctors in, which is going to be later on tonight. And being a Thursday, I don't like calling anybody out, but I think the only thing they can tell if anything's broken in the body, I think it's more ligament damage. But my friends are concerned about my knee bone that took the impact of the injury, and this is the only right leg I've got on the right side of the body to use, and this is now really limited my mobility. So the email today reference was just limited information on that, not giving all details out, just limited, and reaffirming what they claimed on this document last year. Milbrook Healthcare Limited, national company in Southampton, UK area. It's national, this company, and they call it community service. But don't forget, everything's merged. All these different services all merged into one, and it's much harder now to get any of the services in line with one particular, especially high complex disabilities and equipment, and you'll be shifted off. Yeah, they can use and make up things and shifted off that you're not safe in your own environment anymore and you need to assist living. Well, yeah, I was looking at that option last year, but there isn't certain areas I'd like to look at, but there's all these other red tapes and all these major, one thing at a time, I know, but it's all other things related into everything else. It doesn't happen like this overnight, and the problem is you get these individuals in your home and they can make assumption about your private life. You need to know about that. So the email stated right to private life. Reassure them the hoist is on a board, boarding on top of this rotten flooring, still not repaired wet room, and yet they're being used also on behalf of this national housing company. And by the way, be careful your data, because my data unlawfully is being shared to third-party company, I found out today. Well, that'll be sent back because I don't have a contract with that third-party data mining company, and that shouldn't have been sent off to that company. It's amazing how many disabled people, how many people have to cover their backs and beware of what's going to be offered. So I found the paperwork, and I found the out of hours emergency number, which I forgot all about because I've had so much to deal with recently. What a day, what a year, what 2019, I knew it's going to be challenging. But I'm just be aware of, it's not just one piece of equipment. I've got a lot of medical equipment lying, and as I said, now I found out also a medical delivery again today by another individual on behalf of another company, and she was informing me about CCTV, a breach of data. I mean, I couldn't believe this is now like George Orwell 1984. Where I live, there's only a car park in and out, and now certain cameras are monitoring cars in and out. This car park is empty during the day. At night, it's half empty. And all it is able-bodied people, perhaps couples or people sharing their flats, they're moaning they can't get car space. So that's on top. And that's a private company now who ticket individual employee trying to deliver medical services to my private home. And she told me things what happened. And, well, I just know. Now, I mean, in that email today for this service, I've offered a different date and time, but I made it clear that anyone coming, any visitors in my home, they need to display this car permit in their vehicle in such a way, and they need to give me time to reach one's area, because again, the rear back door where I live in the block of flats is still not mended in the intercom system. So they have to ring my mobile to let me know they're outside, and time to get to the back door in my limited mobility. So if they don't adhere to the additional reasonable adjustments one requires, well, there's no way I can receive op workers and services unless they make those adjustments. And that's in anyone in a similar position, United Kingdom. It doesn't help, but I'm trying to look at all offers to move forward throughout this year, and it will be looking at a move. But also, it's not just about a move. It's all about these added, quite complex, quite detailed assessments. And this is housing. It's all interlinked. And so just be aware of any changes that could alert to requirement of a new assessment, whatever that assessment might be for the individuals. So whether you've got children, whether you're elderly, whether you're my age group, working age, it's vital to correct and rebut any data that's not factual, and be prepared to record calls. Keep a paper trail, so to speak, of emails, because you don't want the past to be negative to affect you moving on. But again, they can use that in any employee, private or public funded company, can imply there's a vulnerable individual and there's a safeguarding concern. Be aware they need your consent. If you have capacity in statutory law, mental health, they need your consent to do any safeguarding inquiry. Okay, so adult safeguarding, check out Statutory Law Adult Care Act 2014, Section 42, or just look at the measures. I got nothing against it. It just needs to be factual, first-hand knowledge, and evidential. And I've got to go. God bless, take care. That's just another day in experience. I've got a lot of time left. Oh, dear me. I need a new body, but there is a way of trying to detox and keep healthy with natural remedies on top. So, Article 8, Human Rights, Article 3, Human Rights Act 1998, statutory law, worth investigating and knowing about what your rights are. It is extremely frustrating when, you know, there is obligations, statutory obligations by the future or whatever's meant to be, in not just your medical offer goods and services or of service due of equipment, is also when you have complex long-term conditions or disabilities, whatever it might be. These elements can be used and recorded and shared. Now, be aware of your data sharing with the AI computer systems, the way they're using it all now. And it's extremely difficult if you haven't got any funds to access your personal data, what's been held about you, what's been said about you, who's sharing your data, who is doing what. So, target individuals. Do you feel targeted by so much information? Oh, no. Seriously, though, there is a lot of data. I've got to go. I'm not putting my face on camera because I'm absolutely shattered.